In today's video, we're going to be talking about how you can become a manager and progress into that critical layer in the organization, which we typically refer to as middle management. So let's get going. Introduction to middle management, and middle management is a critical role that bridges the gap between executive leadership and frontline employees. It involves managing teams, implementing strategic goals, and ensuring operational efficiency within an organization. So it's a critical piece in the organization. It's that middle layer, as I said before, and it usually contains a lot of experienced people. But as it contains a lot of experienced people, a lot of people want to also progress into this area. But in order to do that, there are some challenges. Do you have the years of experience? What path do you take? And what is the correct approach for you to get into middle management? So in the video, we're going to be covering this and what are some of those extra skills, qualities, and certifications that you might need to acquire in order for you to reach that goal that you want to attain. Key responsibilities of middle managers, which includes team leadership, operational oversight, and strategic alignment. Now guys, it goes without saying that if you are in a position whereby you are in middle management, you will be managing teams. We're not just talking about one team here, we're talking about multiple teams. So if you have multiple teams, what that means is that not only are you delegating tasks to a group of individuals, delegating tasks to one group, to another group, and to another group. So the way you coordinate those tasks are going to be critical to the success of your objectives, to your projects. But on top of that, that will demonstrate how good you are at operational alignment, operational efficiency and effectiveness. Why is this critical? Because middle managers are going to be hit with a lot of tasks, a lot of changing objectives, a lot of changing priorities on a day-to-day basis. And they're coming in, well, guess what? From the top layer. And as they are plummeting down the organizational hierarchy, they're going to hit you on your desk. And sometimes it'll be an email, sometimes it'll be a piece of paper, and sometimes it could just be a bypass conversation within the corridor. Many times in my career, I've had them just by going to the men's restroom, believe it or not, you might get a brand new requirement. And sometimes also just by having a coffee. And nipping downstairs to the vending machine, you might encounter one of your senior stakeholders. I might say, hey, Suhaib, we have a critical piece here that we need to get done. Can you and your teams work on this? As a manager, you would have to say, yes, let me look into it. Then you go and do your research and see what is achievable and what isn't achievable. That's demonstrating leadership aspects, but it's also demonstrating operational oversight, that you're able to delegate these tasks out. But more critically, and this is probably the most quintessential piece of being a manager, which is strategic alignment. Can you deliver on these tasks, but also maintain the strategic alignment on the organizational level? Because the organization has a strategy in place. And as they have a strategy in place, you have to hit that strategy, you have to hit those objectives. You cannot veer off the path. You cannot go down your own separate path. This isn't allowed. So when those tasks are coming to you and you're delegating them to your teams, you got to check, are those tasks in pursuit of the company vision? Are they in pursuit of the company objectives and their strategy? So alignment is conducted by you primarily, and that is another critical domain of the manager. Developing leadership skills are very, very critical, and there's a couple of them mentioned here, which is number 1, self-awareness, number 2, decision-making, and number 3, continuous learning. Now, why do you need to be self-aware? Well, if you are coordinating teams, you need to be aware of how you go about coordinating those teams. And if you are delegating the tasks in a wrong way, in a wrong perspective, those team members might not actually look upon you favorably. And this is going to put you at a disadvantage when it comes to delegating future tasks in the future. Nobody wants a pushy manager. Nobody wants a control freak. But what they do want is someone that empowers them. And the second thing is decision making. Decision making is critical because the better you can make the decisions in a business sense, your team will feel this. But in order to do so, you need to have good business domain knowledge in the first place. And this is what many managers across the industry lack. And this is why within my 8S model, what we demonstrate is those critical business domains and how you want to go about incorporating that within your day-to-day activities. So decision making is something that you'll be doing on a day-to-day basis, but the impact of those decisions that you make are going to have a massive operational and strategical impact across the organization. And continuous learning is going to be a part of your job description. Even when I entered into middle management, my learning journey did not stop. It wasn't the case of, hey, I've reached middle management and that's it. No, it was a long transformation journey that I had to embark on. Just by getting into that layer, you're going to be learning a lot more in terms of what is actually going on within this layer. And trust me, the horizontal aspects that are hitting you from all angles and all aspects, you're going to have to be able to master them all. So all of this is something that you will be encountering and facing when you're in middle management. So the question that you need to ask yourselves is this. Number one, are you interested to get into middle management? Are you interested to become a manager? Are you sick and tired of working within a team? Are you sick and tired of your current wage, your current position in the organization, and you want to take it a step up? This is where you want to head into. This is your next move. Effective communication strategies is extremely critical. Now, we all know about this. Active listening, clarity and transparency, empathy and compassion, and constructive feedback. Look, if someone is giving you what their thinking is, what their feelings are, you gotta be demonstrating that you're actively listening to them. The last thing that anybody wants to hear is that I just said all this information out and this person wasn't even listening. Not only is that going to be disheartening for that person, it's also going to show you in a negative light. Now, clarity and transparency is critical because what this is showing is that you are confident in conveying the business demands to your teams. I'm sure you have all met those managers before, or you have reported to a manager before, whereby they don't reveal the big picture. They reveal small little aspects of the bigger picture. And they're almost subdividing the information so that you don't see the bigger picture. So that person always maintains the power of knowledge upon you. This is absolutely wrong because the team can sense it, can feel it, that there's a bad smell about it. You don't want to be doing this. You want to be demonstrating that you have business prowess, you have business acumen, and you can clearly articulate where the business is going to be heading, and you can clearly answer the team's questions. Because I guarantee you, when you will be getting asked questions by your team members, your subordinates, they want to know that you know exactly what you are talking about. The last thing that you want to be talking about is something that gives you away. That's going to put you in a worser position, and the team will not respect you anymore. Empathy and compassion. Not everyone has a good day in the office. Not everyone's having a good day in the home place. So be ready to be listening to people's concerns. Be ready to be listening to people's worries, what their requirements are. There'll be multiple things on a day-to-day basis, but you being able to listen clearly and talk with clarity and transparency, as we said in 1 and 2, but also demonstrate that emotional capacity to empathize with the person will put you into a massive massive position of authority, good position of strength and leadership. And the last thing here is constructive feedback. Everyone needs it. And even when I was growing up through my career, I had many mentors. One of my wonderful managers back in Scotland, Glasgow, when I was a young guy back in the day, he gave me so much constructive feedback on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes he used to say, hey, Suhaib, I hope you're not taking this the wrong way. I'm trying to mature you quickly because the challenges that are coming up in the next 6 months are going to be far beyond what you're facing right now. And are you going to be ready for that challenge when it's there? I need to make sure you're ready for it right now. That is constructive feedback, preparing you for future challenges. Delegating tasks and empowering teams is critical, and you can see some of the things mentioned here: trust and autonomy, clear expectations, ongoing support, and celebrating success. Now, why is trust and autonomy so important? Well, long gone are the days whereby you manage people by completely controlling them, completely, strangleholding them, being a control freak. Unfortunately, this does not work with these millennials anymore, right? Many studies have been done on this, on the baby boomer generation, millennials, Gen Z, Gen X, Y, Z, whatever it is right now. It doesn't work. People want to be in a position of that they have a certain amount of control, over their destiny, that they can shape their destiny, that they have an active input into where they want to get to, and allowing them to have that autonomy. They can develop mastery, they can develop purpose, and they can also develop their sense of confidence, their credibility, that they can actually achieve delivering tasks by themselves. Otherwise, they'll just keep coming to you and keep coming to you for help. That's the last culture that we want to install within the team. The culture that we want to install within the team is one whereby they feel powered. They are actively pursuing success by themselves, not by coming to you over and over again. That's the last thing you want to install. Clear expectations. What do I mean by this? Clear expectations is that, look, everyone wants a promotion, but not every company has an open vacancy for that promotion to be filled. That's a common problem. And the other common problem is your manager is giving you false promises, setting you false expectations. What that will essentially do for you, you're going to think by doing this next 6 months worth of tasks and activities that you will get your promotion. And by the end of it, guess what happens? You get absolutely nothing. Your manager is going to feel embarrassed when you bring up the topic. On top of that, you're going to feel that you've been let down. This is not going to end well. That's why you need to be able to set clear expectations from the very outset. That is in control of your self-awareness. And this is where the 8S model and framework supports you to control what you're saying and how you're saying it in the right business terminology. And this is where a lot of you are lacking right now. You do not possess the business acumen. And ongoing support, this goes without saying. Your team members need support. If you are unable to provide that guidance, that clearly articulated vision, how you can support them. And remember, managers are expected to lead from the front. You're expected to do some of those tasks. That's what we're talking about when talking about ongoing support. It's not just simply a case of you give your tasks to your team, you give your tasks to the other team members, and you sit there and you do nothing. How do you think your team members are looking upon you? They're going to look upon you and think, man, our manager is worthless. I could do my manager's job. And then what happens? Your respect in front of their eyes suddenly starts to decrease. You need to be an actively developing operational manager who's actively involved in the implementation of the activities day in, day out. That's how you maintain the credibility of management. And I just want to give a quick example here. Have you ever seen sales managers? Sales managers are actively involved within sales teams, making phone calls, training people, coaching people, giving constructive feedback on the floor day in and day out. You will only see this in sales teams whereby the sales manager is embedded within the teams. And there could be 100 people in that call center making phone calls, sales calls every day. And not only is that person guiding them, coaching them, he's making sales calls as well. It's a good example of a actively implementing manager. And that's what you want to be doing yourself. And celebrating success, obviously this goes without saying. If you are not rewarding your team members for the success that they're achieving, if you're not highlighting their success, if you're not giving them a pat on the back, they're going to feel quite demoralized, unfortunately. You're the first person to create that culture. You're the first person to create that positive working environment. It comes from you, from being a great manager. Performance management and feedback is going to be something that you'll be doing on a continuous basis, but also regular assessments, providing constructive feedback as we spoke about earlier, recognizing achievements, which we just said, and continuous learning, which we've also spoken about. But the regular assessments is something that we should pick up on, because you'll be expected to perform the appraisal of your team members. You cannot have favorites. You cannot have biases upon this, because the quicker you develop those biases and those favorites within your team, the quicker your team members are going to sense this. And this is going to put you in a much more negative position. It's going to even further lower your credibility. And this is where ongoing coaching and support, and where the A-Test framework really supports you in avoiding these mistakes. But giving really good regular assessments that enables your team members to actively grow will not only mean that your team becomes a high-performing team, but it also means that you will be a manager which is actively delivering the results for the organization, while other managers won't be. What will that do for your career? What will that do for your respect within the organization for you? It's a huge thing for you to be able to achieve this, because most managers come back and they report a status update to the stakeholders and say, sorry, we haven't been able to deliver this. And they get it in the neck, unfortunately. So you want to be someone that's delivering predictably, on a very predictable rhythm. In order for you to achieve this, you need to have a high-performing team. Navigating organizational politics is going to be something that you'll face on a day-to-day basis, but how do you go about doing this? By building good, strong relationships with people around you, understanding the dynamics and the politics, that goes without saying, the diplomatic communication ties, and leveraging influence of key stakeholders. This is something that we go into a lot more detail within the A-Test framework, but all I want to say here is that this is a minefield of a topic. And if you're unable to detect who is with you, who is against you, who is supporting that project and why is this person against this project and why is this person always so supportive of you? What's the angle there? All these things have a part to play. And how you go about playing that part is going to have a massive differentiating factor in the success of your career in the long term. And this is why in the A-Test framework, we focus on how we go about strategically navigating these challenges on a day-to-day basis. And this gives you a unique selling proposition, even if you go in front of a hiring manager and actively pursuing a middle management role. So here are some of my conclusions and next steps, which is a summary of what we have covered in today's presentation, but also some next steps in there as well. But as we look upon this, I want to give some tips away. A lot of you will be reaching at this point in this video and asking yourselves the question, okay, great piece of knowledge. I have a better understanding of what middle managers do. I like the sound of this. How can I pursue this path? So there's a couple of ways of doing this. The common certification that people take to reach middle management is a combination of two different areas. The first one is project management, PMP certification. That's the one that typically people take in order to get from a team level position and progress to a middle management position. And project management, such as PMP certification, is the one to take. However, the PMP certification requires a 3 years of eligibility criteria, whereby you're actively managing projects. This might mean that you might not be able to make the exam, but you can definitely take the training. And I recommend this. Anyone that's looking to become a person in middle management, you want to take a PMP certification. It will give you a huge amount of strength for applying for these middle management roles. But on top of that, how can you shortcut this? Well, one of the most popular certifications on the market right now is Scrum Master certifications. And the ones that I see on my channel is obviously the Safe Scrum Master 6.0 certification. Taking a Scrum Master certification, why is it critical? Because all these topics that we have just spoken about are actually covered in those programs. And if you're interested to become a Scrum Master or reach middle management, feel free to check out my Scrum Master Training Academy, which contains all of these topics that we've just spoken about. How you want to go about coordinating teams, how you want to be conducting leadership on a day-to-day basis, and how do you go about becoming a better manager and a better Scrum Master and a project manager overall. If you click the link in the description down below, there's a link there to my Scrum Master Academy, and also there is a free masterclass on how you can become a Scrum Master. But also, by becoming a Scrum Master, you're actively pursuing a middle management role. So both of them are one and the same. The skills that you learn in a Scrum Master certification, the skills that you learn in a project management certification are all in middle management proficiency. You're becoming someone in the middle layer of the organization. Okay, so feel free to check out those links down below. If you have any questions, feel free to drop some comments down below on the video. Check out that masterclass within the link down below. Check out the Scrum Master Academy. And thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all guys next time. Thank you.